Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. My name is Amy with 2 E's, and I am the CEO and founder of Irresistible University. Through my podcast and courses, I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size. If you like this podcast, you are going to love my self-study course. If you want to learn more about it, including what's included, see real client testimonials, see the investment, and to sign up and enroll, please head over to irresistibleacing.com/course. And that link is also in the show notes. Welcome back to the podcast. In this episode, we are talking about how there has never been an easier time in the history of time to lose weight. Yeah, that is true. There has never been an easier time to lose weight than the times that we are living in right now. So I am going to be breaking that down. But of course, there's more to it than just that. So I want you to time travel with me for a little bit before we get into today. And we're going to go back to kind of the evolution of losing weight, the tools that we have, the resources that we have, and what that used to look like. So I'm 43. I was born in 1981. Okay. And as someone who was on a diet I think my first diet, I was 12. Okay. So from the time that I was young and started dieting in the 90s, it was very much the traditional desperate dieting that we talk about here on the show, right? Where we had the 3 a.m. infomercials, we had, the before and after stories, we had the crazy things that people would do to lose weight, from the grapefruit diet to the Subway diet to Richard Simmons, Deal a Meal. Of course, Weight Watchers is the old steady, like all these different things that were out there. And if you think about losing weight back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I want you to think about before there was technology, right? Like the modern technology. Before the internet, let's just say that, before the internet. So before the internet, losing weight was this very isolating, shameful, hard just thing to do, right? And what I mean by isolating is that if you were losing weight, you were losing weight. There was nowhere else to reach out to. So comparing it to today, where I can join a Facebook group, right? Or I can talk to other people online, or I can watch YouTube videos, or I can listen to podcasts like this, right? We didn't have these different mediums of media to help us in our journeys. There was only one media, and that was the TV, the radio, and the magazines. That's 3. But that was it. That was it, right? So whatever was coming across the airwaves, whatever was coming across your TV screen, whatever was showing up in a magazine was just showing up and being spoon-fed to you, right? You didn't have a choice in, you could change the channel, but all the channels were pretty much the same, right? We didn't have a choice in who we consume. We didn't have a choice in who we get to look up to. Everybody looked the same. Everybody was in the same aesthetic, the same body size, the same body type. There was one standard of beauty, which I don't know who the hell sat around and decided what that should be and thought it was a good idea that we only have one standard of beauty, because that is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So there's a lot of different facets to what I'm talking about, right? Like old school dieting. So we have the dieting tools, which were far and few between, right? So let's just use Weight Watchers as an example, because I have done Weight Watchers back in the day, know all the different versions of it. And you would go to Weight Watchers to an in-person workshop. Well, it wasn't called a workshop, it was called a meeting. You would go to an in-person meeting and you would have a paper. I know I still have them stuck in my desk because I kept them for like nostalgia reasons. You would keep your weight tracker book and it was all paper. And when you go to the meetings, you would weigh in front of someone, they would write it down, they would do the math on if you gained or lost, you would get stars if you earned a star, and all this mess. And then as far as tracking, if you were tracking your food, which that was part of the program, you were doing that on paper. So you had this like little paper, so you could get the free tracker. If y'all have been rocking with Weight Watchers back in the day, you know what I'm talking about. You would get the paper tracker for free with your membership. But if you wanted to upgrade, you probably had the member kit, and the member kit had this ugly black, like pouch that you put your tracker. They gave you like an actual little notebook tracker, and you put your weight manual, your weight thing in there, and then your 2 books. You had your dining out book, and then you had your like list of all the food books. And I remember that baby would sit in my car in the side of the front door. So if I was at the drive-thru, I could whip it out and see how many points, whatever was. So that's how it was done. If this is specifically talking about Weight Watchers, there were no online tools. There were no in-between groups to chat, to, see how other people are doing. How are other people doing it? Now, I did like the meetings because there was that community vibe where, so-and-so lost 100 pounds, and she talks about how she makes her egg beaters and Laughing Cow cheese, and that stuck with me. And I've been eating that for many years. But you would learn these little tips and techniques about butternut squash spaghetti, right? Not butternut squash, spaghetti squash. You would learn about that. You would learn about all these different like techniques. Now I'm like stuck on that. Is butternut squash and spaghetti squash the same thing? Anyway, this is how my mind works. So anyway, I would have never known about that otherwise. That was not showing up in 17 magazine. That was not showing up in Cosmo. That was not showing, and for y'all that are young, if you listen, Cosmo was a magazine. You would not see those things in a magazine. It was not going to be on TV. It was not going to be on the radio. There was no other way you were going to get that information. Right? So it's like, there was no Google, there was no Yahoo, there was no nothing online. There was no way to say, okay, we're going to this restaurant tonight, and oh my God, it's not in the book. Remember the panic that would ensue if you were going out to eat tonight and it's not a chain. And if it's not a chain restaurant, it's not going to be in the book, right? So if it wasn't in the book, you had to kind of swag it, figure it out, hope for the best. And then what would we all do? Oh, you'd go into your weigh-in the next week, and you would talk about how, oh my God, you would be telling the lady up there, she doesn't care. She really doesn't care. She's not judging you on your weight. She doesn't care what the number says on the scale. You would care. But you would have a whole story, how it was so-and-so's birthday, and I think I'm going to be up this week. Like, you would want her to be aware that you might be up on the scale. You do the walk of shame on the scale that week. So that's what it looked like. And we would use that as an excuse to like, why I didn't meet my goal this week is because it was so-and-so's birthday. It was happy hour. So-and-so's retiring from the company. This, that, and the third. And you would just not meet your goal for the week. And that was what you would blame it on, because I didn't have the tool to find out, what the points are for the food. Okay. Even though you knew what were good choices and bad choices, but we would use that as our excuse. That's just what we did. Other excuse would be, I didn't track this week. I have been out and about. It was a busy week. I've been having to run a lot of errands after work or after school, and I just haven't had time to sit down and track, or I didn't have my tracker with me. And now that was the excuse because I didn't have the tool to do X, Y, and Z. So we would always have these excuses based on the tools, or, I didn't have time to cook. I didn't have time to make recipes. Because here's the other thing. The other tool that we haven't talked about yet is recipes. Like, Weight Watchers had their own cookbooks, and obviously you could buy cookbooks anywhere you wanted to buy cookbooks. But it's not like you could have a night where you're busy, you're tired, you're hungry, and you could just go on TikTok and Google low carb meal, easy and fast, whatever. I can't tell you the number of times that I use TikTok to find recipes, to get quick meal ideas, because it's so easy. I don't want to follow 30 steps. If I have to follow more than 5 steps, chances are I'm not cooking it. And if you can and I don't follow recipes. I don't like to measure like every tiny little thing. And that was another thing back in the day, is you were so obsessive about measuring every last little bit of anything that was going into the food because you were in this tracking system. And I use TikTok. I find recipes. I just find so many amazing things for food ideas that are quick and easy, and they don't take a lot of time and they don't take a lot of energy. We didn't have that as a resource. So I want you to put yourself back in that time frame. And if you're a younger person listening, I want you to imagine what that would be like, so that you can appreciate all the tools and resources that we literally have right here at our fingertips. I'm showing my tablet on YouTube, and I've got my phone sitting in front of me, and I'm on a computer. So like, there's no excuse, right? We have all of these handheld tools, which are amazing. There are so many amazing things that we can do nowadays to go along and supplement and support our weight loss journey. So back in the day also, so that's the food piece, right? That's the food piece. We either got recipes from cookbooks, maybe we got a recipe from a friend, or maybe we got some tips on a recipe from, the Weight Watcher meeting. We would be like furiously writing it down on a piece of paper to take home with us, and then we forgot about it, and so that was the food piece. And then we have the workout piece. And so back fat, we are bad. We are horrible people. We do not deserve anything. We do not deserve good things. We do not deserve happiness. That was like ingrained into our DNA almost, like back in these days, right? And also, everywhere you look, like I said at the beginning, there's one standard of beauty. Everybody looked the same. All the models, all the people in the magazines, all the actresses, all the people in the media that we're constantly being surrounded by, they all have the same body type, which is skinny. And for the 90s, heroin chic was an actual term that was used because they wanted people that looked so skinny that they could only have been that skinny because they were strung out on drugs. Like, what? I think about this. This is the kind of stuff I think about at 2:00 in the morning. And it's like, what corporate billionaire asshole sat at a table in a marketing room, in a boardroom, and said, yes, I'm a genius. I am such a genius because we are going to do heroin chic. Heroin chic is going to be all the rage. Like, what stupid fucking uppity bitch sat there and thought, yes, girl, that is, and it worked. And it worked, right? People are stupid and they fell for it and they bought it. And I always thought it was stupid. I thought this is just so weird. And I remember there was one lady that came out of nowhere, it seemed like, and she was plus size. Her name was Emmy. I cannot remember her last name. She's blonde and she was plus size and she's beautiful. And she started showing up in different, I don't know if it was a plus size mag. I don't know what it was, but I started to see her and I was like, had this moment where I felt seen. I felt validated. And then I discovered Spanish TV. And I was watching, it was a Spanish game show. Oh my God, what was the name of that show? Blablazo, I think it was. I can't remember. Anyway, there were these women who were thick and plus size and a little chubby, but like voluptuous and sexy and beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, like I feel seen. I feel like that, like when you see yourself in someone, it validates your existence. It just does. And when you're constantly surrounded by people that don't look like you, and that no matter what you do, no matter what level of desperate dieting you do, you're never going to look like them, right? I can lose weight and struggle and desperate diet and starve every night before I go to bed, and I'm still not going to look like those women. And now that I'm secure in myself and what I want to be and who I want to be, I don't want to look like that. I don't want to be skinny. But yeah, so it was like you had the food part of it, the weight loss part of it, you had the body image part of it, right? Which was seeing all these thin people and seeing no one that you looked like and not having the ability to change the channel and find someone else. And I want to compare that to now where it's like we have social media, which has its pros and cons, obviously, and we have to be healthy with how we consume it, obviously. However, think about all the people you can follow now that have your body type, like the fashion influencers. They're like, hey, I'm a size 14. My stomach is my trouble area. Follow me because you're going to be able to find outfits that I'm wearing. Amazing. Like, mind-blowing. Like, think about that, especially if you're a younger person, that not existing. And you never seeing anyone that looks like you. Ever. Ever. And also, let's add another category to this, which is the fashion. Or shall I say, the lack of fashion, right? Like if you were plus size, you were screwed. Like there were no cute outfits. The outfits that they did have shoved in the very back of the store upstairs in the woman's section. That's what they call women's. Like, aren't we all women here? Like, aren't we all women? But no, if you're plus size, bitch, you're a woman. So the woman section upstairs was grandma clothes, polyester shit, loud colors, loud patterns, just absolutely ugly, hideous clothes. And if you were a younger person, you now looked like you were, dressing like a grandma when you were like 15 or 20 years old. It's just, it was a time, y'all. It was a time. And we forget how far we've come with the tools, the resources, the media and things like that I don't even watch TV. Like, obviously I watch on my TV. I don't watch traditional TV. We cut cable years ago. There's not one day in my life that I miss it. And nowadays we can curate, because before the media used to curate for us. They curated for us what we were going to watch, right? They told us, no, these are the shows. This is the lineup. If you don't like it, too bad. This is what's on tonight. And even the radio, this is what's playing now. You go get by your boombox, press record, get the top 5 at 5, because now you got all the cool songs on your tape. And now it's like, nah, bitch, I got Amazon Music. I can go on and I can find any album, any artist at any given time when I want to listen to it. I can make my own radio station based on my likes, because I have a wide my genre of music is all over the place. And TV, we've got different streaming services. Some nights I'm not even watching TV. I might watch YouTube, or I might just be watching Reels or TikToks, So we now, as the consumer, we get to curate what's on our watch list. We get to do that. We get to decide, I don't want to follow those people. I want to follow this person. And that's really empowering. And I want us to remember that. So we have the food, we have the body image, we have the clothes, and then I wanted to get into the workouts. So the thing back in the day is like, okay, I want to work out, because that was ingrained in our diet culture. Is like, if you're not working out hard, if you're not like killing it at the gym, like you got to be borderline trying to kill yourself at the gym in order to be where you want to be. So we had gym memberships. People still have gym memberships, obviously, but like there weren't a lot of options. It was like, get a gym membership, get a rec center membership. I don't know if anybody did jazzercise. I've never done that. But, there was different classes like that people would go do, or go walking, all good things even today. Like, I'm not knocking any of that today. I think all of that is amazing. However, I want you to think about, we're talking about now, if there has never been an easier time to lose weight, because we have these things at our fingertips. Last night, I got my tablet, and I've been doing HIIT workouts, HIIT. I had no idea. I had heard about HIIT, but let me tell you, I don't like to work out for a long time. I don't want to be sitting there struggling. I don't want to go to a gym with a bunch of gym bros. I don't want to have to take a lot of time out of my schedule, but I want to continue to be on my weight loss journey. I want to get fit and I want to get toned. I discovered HIIT workouts recently, and 10 out of 10 recommend. It's great. However, what I was getting at is doing it on my tablet. Yeah, I can turn on the TV. I can YouTube on my TV, but I was like, I don't feel like turning the TV back on and all this because my remote is a piece of shit because my son decided to throw one of the remotes in a glass of lemonade. And we ordered a new one and it just doesn't work the same. Anyway, sidebar. So I'm just going to turn the tablet on, get this quick 10-minute HIIT workout and go about my night. My point being, we have tablets, we have phones, we have computers, we have TVs that can stream. You don't need to spend $1 to go work out. There are thousands upon thousands of workouts on YouTube. You know, obviously different influencers and channels you could upgrade and get their memberships, and that's awesome. But my point is, at a baseline, get yourself started. It's all there for free. You don't need to put up, and I remember going to the gym back in the day, and you couldn't just go online and sign up. Oh no. You had to go in person. You had to meet with some 20-year-old little shit muscle man and him walk you through and act like you don't know anything about anything because, you're overweight and here you are at the gym, and walk you through the tour and then sit down in a room with you, get the little laminated sheet out and talk about all the different plans. And it was like a 2-year agreement, monthly, whatever. And it was just insane. It was just insane. And now even a lot of the gyms I know are no commitment, no contracts, month to month, as it should be, right? We've got now all these different workouts online, so many fitness influencers. And if you don't like this and that was the thing, back in the day, fitness influencers, I guess you could call them. They were like fitness, I don't even know what you would call, like a Jillian Michaels and people like that. But there was a handful of them. There was that one lady that would come on in the morning with the raspy voice. She used to come on Lifetime bright and early in the morning. Oh my God, I could see her blonde hair and her raspy voice. Denise. Is that it? Denise Austin? I think it is. But she used to come on, obviously back in the day, Jane Fonda. That's kind of a little bit before my time. There was Susan Powder, the bald lady or the short-haired lady. She was insane. Billy Blanks, which was the Tybo guy, he's just too much for me. He's too much energy for me. And so you had these different fitness people, but there was a handful of them, right? So if you didn't vibe with them, if you didn't like them, then that was it. Where nowadays, there's all kinds of people and personalities, and you find who works for you. So that's the fitness piece of it, right? And then we also have smartwatches. Like, we're sitting here working out. We don't have to manually check our heart rate. We can literally use our smartwatch, check our heart rate, put little timers, all kinds of track our walks, track our miles, our steps, all these things. Like, I am so old, I can remember having is it called a pedometer? I think it is. Like, where you used to carry it with you to track your steps, So it's like, just look how far we've come. And again, there has never been an easier time to lose weight than there is now. We have tons of, I could just go on Google right now and Google easy recipe mom of 2. Boom, right? I can go on TikTok and look for a recipe, look for a workout, look for a fashion advice, look for anything. And I haven't even mentioned the ability to buy things, where I remember, wanting a food scale. And the only place to get the food scale was at Weight Watchers, because they had their own special scales and their own special tools or whatever. And only being able to buy it in person at the meeting. Where now I can go on Amazon and that bitch will be here tomorrow. So think about where we are today. Think about all of these tools. And then think about all your excuses. Think about all your excuses. Think about your excuses back in the day and how you can overcome those today. So one of the ones I had said earlier was like, oh, I don't know the points for this food because we're going out to such and such restaurant. And it's like, that's no longer an issue, because If it's a popular enough restaurant, even if it's not a chain, we can figure out the nutrition facts and then figure out the points or what the macros, whatever you're tracking. And if it's not, and it's like a mom and pop place, we can look at the menu and we can really estimate what we think it might be. Also, with the tracking excuse, there is no excuse. I got my phone or my tablet on me at all times. So having to sit down and take out a piece of paper and write it. Think about how you used to use that as an excuse. Because I did. And now, I think even Weight Watchers now has made it so easy that all you have to do is scan. I mean, you can even scan the barcodes. Come on. It doesn't take a lot of time. It takes effort. It doesn't take time. You can scan the barcode. I think they just rolled out something new about taking a picture, and I don't know if it somehow knows what you're eating. I haven't tried that out or anything, but we have the tools. We have an abundance of technology and tools to help us in our weight loss journey. So where is the disconnect? What is the disconnect? Why are you still struggling to get the weight off? If there's never been an easier time in history to lose weight, why are you struggling? You literally could never leave your house and you have all of this available to you right now. The workout, the recipes, the meal plan, even the meal plans. You could even go on ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to make you a meal plan and give it some parameters. I'm a busy mom of 2. I want to eat as low carb as possible. I don't have a lot of time. I don't have and it will spit out to you a meal plan. And take it a step further, I can tell ChatGPT, hey, can you make me a meal plan and a shopping list for Aldi's, for Walmart, for Whole Foods, for wherever? And guys, it'll do it. Has there ever been an easier time in history to get what we need when we need it for our weight loss? Absolutely not. This is it. We are living in the future. We are living in the things that we used to think that'll never happen, right? That will never happen, right? I remember, especially our generation always refer to the future as the Jetsons, right? We are the Jetsons now. We are living as the Jetsons. We have robot vacuums in our house. We have these little robots in our computer that tell us how to do things, like self-driving cars. We're living in the future that we used to think about. This is it. We're here, and it's only going to get better and better and better. So with this abundance of resources, why are we still failing? Why are we still yo-yo dieting? Why are we still on the hamster wheel of wanting to lose weight so bad, but then not getting where we want to be and failing at what we're doing? And it's because all the tools in the world are not going to give you what you need, what you truly need, in order to lose the weight and keep the weight off. They're just not going to do that. These tools, while they are great for all the reasons that we talked about, the one thing they're still not doing is they're not fixing the core issue. They're not fixing the emotional weight. And the emotional weight is the gap between, I really wish I could lose weight, and not getting there. You have to bridge this gap in between, because the emotional weight is so heavy and so big, and the emotional weight is all the things that you're carrying with you, the invisible load, the things that you believe about yourself, the things that you don't believe about yourself, right? All of these different things that are holding you back from where you want to be. And if you don't address the emotional weight and you don't address it, will always affect your ability to, number one, get the weight off, and number two, more importantly, keep the weight off, right? So the emotional weight is wrapped up in the beliefs we have about ourselves, the beliefs we have about what weight loss means. And I have plenty and plenty of episodes around emotional weight. I would encourage you to go back and listen to those. But these tools, that's why there's still a disconnect, right? Because think about it, it's so easy. You have everything you need, then what's the problem? Well, the problem is you internally. The problem is, I don't believe that I'm worthy of losing the weight. I'm just giving examples here. I don't believe that I can actually do it this time because I always fail. I don't believe that I deserve to be in a healthier body. And then it's like, you got to keep digging back the layers. Well, why don't you believe that? I don't know. I've never been there before. I've never had it happen before. Well, why not? Because I always think this way. And you keep digging, right? So the emotional weight will always hold you back if you don't learn how to lose it. And I think emotional weight is just like physical weight, and that it's not a one and done, right? Like, yes, you lose your physical weight, you get to your goal, but if you don't consistently maintain it and work at the maintenance of it, what happens? Right? It comes back. It will come back. To constantly work at, I need to rein in my choices. I'm overeating again. And why am I overeating? Right? Just like the physical weight, we got to do the same thing with the emotional weight. We don't just one and done it. I have to constantly check in with myself and say, okay, because we're dynamic people. We are constantly going through things, new things. Things are going to be happening to us, good and bad. So we have to do these check-ins and say, okay, what am I struggling with this week? Why is this hard for me? Like, what's really going on here? What's stopping me from getting to where I want to be? And it's not the tools, honey. It's never been the tools. Can I just say that? It's never been the tools. It's never been the tools. Because think about it. Back in the day, yes, you didn't have these tools that we have today, but you didn't know any better. And you still had excuses. If it was a lack of tools, you would already be where you want to be. It's not a lack of tools. It's a lack of not knowing yourself enough to understand your triggers, to understand the rules you're living by, to understand why you're not taking action in certain areas, to understand why you're not confident enough to take action. Like, it's all of those different components wrapped up in each other. And all the tools in the world, I mean, we could be living in the day, like, let's really be in the Jetsons, where we got somebody making our food, delivering our... You know what? I just laughed when I said that, because we do have that ability. I didn't even think about that. We've got these different meal planning services, these different meal companies that you go online and you pick out your meals for the week and they ship them to your house, and you've got it all in a little container, and all you literally have to do is heat it up. So why is there such a disconnect? I really want you to think about that. It's never been easier to lose weight. Never. In history has it been easier to lose weight than it is in 2025. So you have to say, all right, so what's the real problem here? What do I still need to address? What am I not doing? It's not a lack of wanting it. It's not a lack of trying. It's that there's a disconnect, that bridge of knowing who you really want to become and seeing where you are and not knowing how to get there, because the weight loss isn't going to get you there. And we talked about that last week, that the weight loss is just weight loss, right? And weight loss, yes, we want it. We want to feel better. We want to look better. But what we really want is what we think that lifestyle is going to get us. Oh, when I lose the weight, I will feel confident. When I lose the weight, I will want to dress cuter. When I lose the weight, I will want to be going out places more often. I will, go after my dreams. I won't feel so scared. I won't feel so embarrassed. And that's not going to happen just because of the weight loss. It's going to happen by the full transformation that only can come from losing the emotional weight too. That's it. So that's where I was in my journey many, many years ago, when I finally was like, okay, I'm done with this desperate diet thing. Every time shit hits the fan, I start gaining back a shit ton of weight. I don't understand why. I need to address the problem. And the problem was that I had all these thoughts and feelings, all of these beliefs, all of these things that I was just pushing away and not dealing with, aka emotional weight. And so I recommend to everyone, get yourself in therapy, have a good therapist. If everybody in the world would just go to therapy, man, it would be a better place. It just would. And you don't have to have anything happening in your life to be a candidate to go to therapy. Can I just say that? I've been seeing the same therapist now for almost 5 years. Just because every week things come up in your life, you have thoughts, you have feelings, you have, things that you're navigating. And I talk to my husband about everything, right? Honestly, everything. But it's good to have this objective person who is not emotionally attached to you. And maybe there's things I want to talk about him, right? So having this person that I can talk things out with and keeps my mind healthy, it's no different than taking yourself to go work out. You've got to take care of up here. Because if you don't take care of up here, everything else down below, it's not going to compute. It's just not going to compute. So I recommend to everyone, get yourself into therapy. If there's, deep-seated trauma or even little trauma, it doesn't have to be trauma, guys. Like, have someone to help you walk through that. I am not a therapist. That is not my role. That is not my job. But what I can offer is the podcast. From my perspective, the things I've gone through, the things that I know work. I can also offer you the Irresistible You framework, which is in my course. I think if you've got a lot of big things that you need to deal with, the course in and of itself is not the only answer. I think it's a great supplement. But if you're wondering, like, how am I going to lose the emotional weight? I don't know how to do this. Like, what does that mean? Then I would invite you to sign up for the course. I think it's a great tool. I think it's a great thing to have in your toolbox to help you and live by those 5 guiding principles that are part of the Irresistible You framework. Now is the perfect time to sign up. The half off sale is going to be ending very, very soon in February. And I will tell you this. All right, I'm going to tell you. I told you a little bit last week, but I'm going to tell you. So and my students that are already enrolled, you will automatically get this. It's going to be part of the course. But I am launching, not only do you have the course, there's going to be a private podcast. So you'll have the program that you can watch the videos, go in the course portal, do all the things, but it's also going to have a private podcast that you can listen to and play on the go anywhere at any time, including the modules that are in the course. I am so excited to launch this. It's not ready yet. It's not going to be ready till sometime in February. But that is why, if you are not already enrolled, get your butt in there. As of today, it's January 28th, 2025. The sale is going to be ending in early, probably the 1st of February. Enter the code half off at checkout. This isn't going to happen again. So if you get in there now, when the private podcast launches, you're going to have access to that too. So I cannot stress that to you enough. It is an insane deal right now. Go over to the show notes, or you type in irresistibleicing.com/course. When you go to the checkout page, enter half off as the promo code. I cannot stress that enough. Go and do it. Get in there. I've had so many of you enroll in the last week, and I am so honored that you would even consider me to be here to help you, guide you on your journey. And I'm so excited to work with all of you and have you in there as part of Irresistible University. So make sure you do that, because the course really does help bridge the gap between the emotional weight, right? It helps to bridge that gap between, why do I keep failing at this? Why do I keep gaining and losing, gaining and losing, gaining and losing? It's because you don't have that foundation. So again, think about what we talked about today, and that it's never been easier. So then why is it so hard? It's never been an easier time in history to lose weight than it is in 2025. So then why is it so hard for me? What is missing for me? Really think about that. What is missing for you? Have access to all these tools. What are the tools then not addressing? Right? There's something they're not addressing. And all of you listening know how to lose weight. You know what you need to do. You know how to do it. So then why aren't you doing it? Especially with all the tools, there's no excuses, right? But yet there's a disconnect, and the disconnect is the emotional weight that we need to lose. All right. So we are going to start to wrap up the episode. I want you to think about everything that we talked about today. I want you to Like share your, like if you're listening to the podcast, please take a screenshot and tag me on Instagram. I love to see that. I will reshare it on my stories as well. I just love to see you guys listening. And, I just like to get to know my listeners a little bit more. So please go ahead and do that. And you can DM me on Instagram, share your stories with me. Let me know, what is the craziest diet? What is the craziest diet you ever did? Which one was it? I will say, you know what the stupidest one was for me? It was the 6-week diet. I got sucked into it right before my wedding. I was like, I got to get these last little bit of pounds off. I saw it on an infomercial. It was expensive at the time, right? It was expensive. And this 6-week diet promised in 6 weeks you would lose all this weight, but it had you eating, oh my God, girl, it was like 6 to 8 times a day. And they would do the meal plan based on your body type. So like what Frank was, because we both did it together, like what Frank was eating and what I was eating, 2 different things, which was ridiculous. And having to eat 6 to 8 times a day when you're working full time. I was going to college full time. I had a puppy. I had a wedding I was planning. Like, ain't nobody got time for that shit. And it had all these cards and these ridiculous workouts. And it was just a hot mess. And think about all the stuff I had to carry with me. The food, the little cards, the workouts. And now it's like, here's my phone. Here's my phone. It's all right here. It's all right here. And also, talking about tools, the Irresistible You course you can do on your phone. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your tablet. You can do it on your laptop. And when the podcast comes out, you could do that while you're driving. You could do it while you're washing dishes. If you like this podcast, this is going to take it a step further. This is going to take it deeper into the framework that you can apply, that you can use, the strategies, the tools, and you get the course with it, which is insane. So the podcast will be coming out sometime in February. If you want to get in while it's still super cheap, do it now, half off at checkout. All of this is going to be down in the show notes. I also want to remind you, if you would like to support the podcast, please leave a rating and review over on Apple Podcast. I know not everyone listens through Apple. I know most people do based on my statistics, but that's kind of like the go-to for reviews. A lot of the other apps don't have reviews available, but if they do, I would love for you to leave a review on whatever app you're using. All right, y'all, I'm going to wrap it up here. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing week. I hope you are doing great. And until next time, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.